The dense jungles and meandering rivers of the Essequibo region belie a long simmering tension. For over a century, Venezuela and Guyana have been locked in a territorial dispute over this vast area, roughly the size of England. At the heart of the disagreement lies the legacy of colonialism and the elusive promise of a final resolution. Venezuela fervently contests the 1899 Arbitral Award, a decision made by international arbitrators that granted the Essequibo region to British Guyana, which later gained independence as Guyana. Caracas has long argued that the award was unfairly influenced by external powers, and that the territory rightfully belongs to them. Guyana, however, stands firm in its conviction that the 1899 award definitively settled the border. The government in Georgetown maintains that the arbitral decision was legally binding, and that Venezuela's claims are without merit. This fundamental difference in interpretation has fueled decades of diplomatic wrangling and occasional flare-ups, casting a long shadow over relations between the two South American nations. The discovery of oil in the disputed waters off the coast of Guyana in 2015 added fuel to the fire. With the promise of substantial oil wealth, the stakes of the dispute have dramatically increased, making a peaceful resolution even more elusive. The international community has largely recognized Guyana's territorial integrity, but Venezuela's persistent claims, often accompanied by assertive rhetoric and actions, continue to stoke tensions. As both countries grapple with the complexities of the dispute, the quest for a lasting solution remains a pressing concern, not just for Guyana and Venezuela, but for the stability of the entire region. The territorial dispute has had a profound impact on the relationship between Guyana and Venezuela, hindering cooperation and fostering suspicion. The unresolved border issue continues to cast a long shadow over bilateral relations, impeding efforts to build trust and forge stronger ties. The specter of the dispute has also hampered economic development in the region, as uncertainty over the border has discouraged investment and hindered cross-border trade. The discovery of vast oil reserves in the disputed waters off Guyana's coast in 2015 fundamentally transformed the dynamics of the border dispute. What was once a protracted territorial disagreement took on a new urgency, as the promise of significant oil wealth added a potent economic dimension to the conflict. ExxonMobil, the U.S. energy giant, has spearheaded the exploration and extraction efforts in the Stabroek Block, a massive offshore concession area located within Guyana's exclusive economic zone, but claimed by Venezuela. The initial discovery in 2015 set off a flurry of exploration activity, with ExxonMobil announcing a series of increasingly larger oil finds in the years that followed. The sheer scale of the discoveries, estimated to hold billions of barrels of oil, quickly catapulted Guyana into the league of the world's newest petrostates. The International Energy Agency has projected that Guyana's oil production could reach 1.2 million barrels per day by the end of the decade, potentially transforming the small South American nation into one of the region's largest oil producers. However, Venezuela's long-standing claim to the Essequibo region, which encompasses the offshore oil blocks, has cast a shadow over Guyana's newfound oil wealth. Caracas has vehemently denounced Guyana's decision to grant exploration and production licenses to foreign companies, arguing that it constitutes a violation of Venezuelan sovereignty. In an attempt to assert its claim, Venezuela issued a decree in 2015 that redrew its maritime boundaries to include a significant portion of Guyana's exclusive economic zone, overlapping with the Stabroek Block where ExxonMobil had made its discoveries. Guyana, backed by international law and the support of the international community, has condemned Venezuela's actions as illegal and provocative. The government in Georgetown maintains that it has the sovereign right to develop its natural resources within its internationally recognized maritime boundaries. The escalating tensions between the two countries, fueled by the lucrative oil discoveries, have raised concerns about the potential for conflict and the destabilization of the region. In recent years, the Venezuela-Guyana border dispute has witnessed a series of escalations, pushing tensions between the two countries to their highest point in decades. Venezuela, grappling with an unprecedented economic crisis and political turmoil under the Maduro regime, has increasingly resorted to assertive rhetoric and actions to assert its claim to the Essequibo region. Guyana, emboldened by its newfound oil wealth and the support of the international community, has responded with equal resolve, determined to defend its territorial integrity. In December 2023, Venezuela held a widely criticized referendum in the disputed Essequibo region, a move condemned by Guyana and the international community as illegal and provocative. The referendum, which purportedly showed overwhelming support for Venezuela's claim to the territory, was seen as a blatant attempt to undermine Guyana's sovereignty and legitimize Venezuela's territorial ambitions. The turnout for the referendum was reportedly low, and the results were dismissed as illegitimate by Guyana and its international partners. Following the referendum, Venezuela released new official maps that incorporated the Essequibo region as an integral part of its territory. The maps, disseminated through government channels and educational institutions, were intended to solidify Venezuela's claim to the disputed area and instill a sense of national ownership among its citizens. Guyana denounced the maps as a cartographic aggression, accusing Venezuela of attempting to rewrite history and usurp its territory through propaganda. Adding to the heightened tensions, satellite imagery analysis conducted by independent organizations in February 2024 revealed a concerning buildup of Venezuelan military forces and equipment along the border with Guyana. The imagery showed the deployment of troops, armored vehicles and artillery units to areas near the disputed border region, raising alarm bells in Guyana and the wider international community. Venezuela's military posturing, widely seen as a show of force intended to intimidate Guyana, further escalated tensions and heightened fears of a potential military confrontation. In a move that sent shockwaves through the region, Venezuela passed a law in March 2024, officially designating the Essequibo region as a new Venezuelan state. The law, passed by the pro-Maduro National Assembly and condemned as illegal by Guyana and the international community, was seen as a significant escalation of Venezuela's territorial ambitions. The creation of a new state within the disputed territory, a move widely seen as a violation of international law, further inflamed tensions and deepened the divide between the two countries. The escalating tensions between Venezuela and Guyana over the disputed Essequibo region have sent shockwaves through the region, raising concerns about the potential for conflict and the destabilization of a volatile part of South America. The increasingly assertive actions and rhetoric from Caracas, coupled with the significant economic interests at stake, have created a combustible mix that has put neighboring countries on edge and drawn the attention of the international community. Brazil, which shares a long and porous border with both Venezuela and Guyana, has been particularly vocal in its concerns about the escalating dispute. The Brazilian government, wary of the potential for spillover effects from a conflict between its neighbors, has reinforced its military presence along its northern border and stepped up diplomatic efforts to diffuse tensions. Brazil has called for a peaceful resolution to the dispute through dialogue and diplomacy, emphasizing the need to respect international law and the territorial integrity of both countries. The international community has largely sided with Guyana in the border dispute, condemning Venezuela's assertive actions and reaffirming Guyana's territorial integrity. The United States, a staunch ally of Guyana and a major player in the region, has expressed unwavering support for Georgetown and called on Venezuela to respect the 1899 arbitral award. The U.S. has also increased its military cooperation with Guyana, conducting joint military exercises and providing training and equipment to the Guyanese armed forces. The United Kingdom, the former colonial power in Guyana, has also been drawn into the fray, dispatching a Royal Navy patrol ship to the region in a show of support for its former colony. The UK has reiterated its recognition of the 1899 arbitral award and urged Venezuela to resolve the dispute through peaceful means, in accordance with international law. The UK's naval presence in the region, while largely symbolic, underscores the international community's concern about the escalating tensions and its commitment to supporting Guyana. The Caribbean Community, or CARICOM, a regional bloc of Caribbean nations, has also thrown its weight behind Guyana, issuing a strong statement condemning Venezuela's actions and reaffirming its support for Guyana's territorial integrity. CARICOM has called on Venezuela to desist from any actions that could escalate tensions and undermine regional peace and stability. The regional bloc has also expressed its full confidence in the ongoing judicial process at the International Court of Justice to resolve the dispute peacefully and in accordance with international law. As tensions between Venezuela and Guyana continue to simmer, the search for a peaceful and lasting resolution to the long-standing border dispute remains elusive. The complexities of the issue, compounded by historical grievances, political calculations, and the lure of oil wealth, present a formidable challenge to diplomatic efforts. However, the potential consequences of a sustained escalation, including the risk of conflict, regional instability, and disruptions to global energy markets, underscore the urgent need for a negotiated settlement. The International Court of Justice, the principal judicial organ of the United Nations, has emerged as a key avenue for resolving the dispute through legal means. In 2018, Guyana filed an application with the ICJ, requesting the court to confirm the legal validity and binding effect of the 1899 arbitral award, which settled the land boundary between the two countries. Venezuela, however, has refused to participate in the proceedings, arguing that the ICJ lacks jurisdiction to hear the case. Despite Venezuela's objections, the ICJ ruled in 2020 that it has jurisdiction to hear Guyana's case, paving the way for the court to adjudicate on the merits of the dispute. The ICJ's decision was hailed as a victory for Guyana and a testament to the rule of law in international relations. However, Venezuela has maintained its refusal to participate in the proceedings, casting doubt on whether it would abide by any ruling issued by the court. The ICJ proceedings offer a glimmer of hope for a peaceful resolution to the dispute, but the path ahead remains fraught with challenges. Venezuela's continued intransigence and its refusal to engage in good faith negotiations pose significant obstacles to a negotiated settlement. The international community, particularly regional actors like Brazil and CARICOM, will need to play a proactive role in encouraging dialogue, facilitating confidence-building measures, and upholding the principles of international law. Beyond the legal track, there is a pressing need for creative diplomatic initiatives to address the underlying drivers of the dispute and build trust between the two countries. This could involve exploring joint development agreements for the disputed maritime area, fostering economic cooperation, and promoting people-to-people exchanges to bridge divides. A sustained and coordinated effort by the international community, coupled with a genuine commitment to dialogue and compromise from both Venezuela and Guyana, is essential to charting a course through these troubled waters and securing a peaceful and prosperous future for the region.